Welcome to the Outer Banks podcast, presented by Seaside Vacations. With nearly 400 hassle-free Outer Banks vacation rentals. Begin planning your Outer Banks beach escape today at outerbanksvacations.com.
Welcome to the Outer Banks podcast. My name is Bryn Pittman. On today's episode, we talked to Daryl Law of Jennette's Pier. We're going to discover everything that Jennette's Pier has to offer for your next trip to the Outer Banks. From fishing to summer camps to everything for the family, Jennette's Pier has it all. Let's dive deep. Daryl, thank you for joining me.
Hey, thank you for having me. It's a beautiful morning here at Jennette's Pier.
So we are at Jennette's Pier, which is, I think, one of my favorite spots to take photos. I will come here in the morning when nobody's around, and I'll take photos either when the sun's breaking or just to kind of get a good scenery, a good landscape. But Jennette's Pier has a ton of stuff to offer. So why don't you tell us a little bit?
It really does. As far as sunrise go, when I get here early on some days, there are plenty of people down there snapping shots with their camera phones, and we have a lot of professional photographers that get some shots and make videos. So it's kind of a mecca for being on the ocean front. So we really do have a lot to offer here. The pier is 1,000 foot long, and it's concrete, so it was built to withstand a strong Cat 3, which we've already been through a couple big ones, but we made it fine. So we're our main focus is fishing, and as you know, fishing in Nags Head is really good. The whole area was kind of developed around fishing. Originally, when people started coming here, it was to go fishing, and we're carrying on the tradition. The first Jennette's Pier was built in 1939 from wood that was not treated, and the wood worms ate up the pilings in the pier, and it only lasted 4 or 5 years apparently. And then since that time, it was rebuilt and knocked down, and at one point, it looked like the pier was going to go away, and this 5 acres here was going to be developed for more vacation rental homes.
Oh, wow.
And some influential people in the community stepped up and said, no, we want to preserve this. And so the town and the county both tied it up with some down payment money, and was a very long, complicated process, but eventually it landed with our nonprofit group, which is the North Carolina Aquarium Society. And from there, the legislature voted 100% to fund the $25 million price tag of the pier, built in 24 months, which is pretty fabulous.
Yeah, it's pretty fast, actually.
If you look at this huge building that we're sitting in, and then the pier itself. We were reborn in May of 2011.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's been really good. And I just figured out the numbers here. We had 113 people come visit, walk through the pier house doors. It's a combination of going fishing, walkouts, people that attended weddings here or other rentals, and then the campers. So that doesn't count the people that go to the beach here. It doesn't count the people that walk into the pier house, because it's free to walk into the pier house. We have 2 large aquariums down there with local species, and then the restrooms are pretty popular during the summer. And some people will come here on Saturday mornings while they're waiting to check in and just hang out in the air conditioning. And we have several science exhibits down there, and a really nice gift shop. Great place to get a souvenir in the pier shop, it's called. Fishing passes are $14. Walk-ons are $2. Children 12 and under are half price of those numbers. A lot of people buy the membership, North Carolina Aquarium's memberships, and that allows you to go to the aquarium, which is our sister facility about 15 minutes from here on Roanoke Island. You can get free admission there, and then that same membership allows you to have a discount in the gift shop and walk out on our pier for free. Pretty neat. And I've been a fisherman pretty much all my life, and I started pier fishing on the Outer Banks in our neighborhood, which was Avalon, when I was young. And it's one of the easier forms of saltwater fishing. It's not too complicated to bottom fish off the pier, so we really attract a lot of families. We have a class specifically for family fishing. It's called Monday through Friday during the season. So June, July, and August, 9 a.m., Monday through Friday. And we'll get you out there. We provide all the equipment, the bait, instructors, teach you how to take the fish off the hook, and we encourage catch and release. A lot of people who are here on vacation, even if they catch a couple of fish, they don't really know how to clean them and cook them and stuff. So, we teach them that, we make sure the option is there so they can just drop it back over the side and save it for another day. But We have a team who drive out on the pier on the golf carts, and they assist anglers, with catching the fish or netting them. A lot of people ask me, how do you get a big fish up to the pier deck?
I've been out there at the end of the pier where they're casting and they're bottom fishing, and some of those fishes, they're huge.
Yes. So in September, the red drum come around, and they're the bull red drum, which, to the best of my knowledge, over 40, 41 inches are the bull drums, and they are huge.
Oh, man, yeah.
That's our state's saltwater fish.
Okay.
Red drum. And so we have these landing nets. They're shaped like a hoop. We lower that down. Usually you have your buddy helping you, and you pull your fish over and get it in that landing net and pull it up. So with the red drum, those large ones are protected. So those all go back over the side. And again, this is something where it happens pretty quick. You get them out of the net. Most people measure it, length, sometimes the girth, and then they pretty much always get a photo with it. And then it is right back over the side as fast as possible.
Got to get your photo.
Yeah.
Definitely got to get that.
The smartphones have really changed how all that, everybody's got it in their pocket.
Yeah. Everybody's taking a photo, and obviously they're tagging Jennette's Pier. What has been some of the strangest or, the craziest catches that you've seen?
Okay. I'm glad you asked me that. So during the height of summer, when it's really warm and the Gulf Stream shoots up these eddies of warmer water, we have caught a baby sailfish here.
Oh.
We have caught mahi-mahi, or dolphin fish, which is prized when you go offshore fishing. You'd like to get into the dolphin under the grass line, and bail dolphin, it's called, when you're just catching them one after another. It's really fun. So we've caught a couple of mahi-mahi. So there are some really interesting sharks that have been brought up. Guitar fish shaped like a guitar. It's a shark. Angel sharks, skates and rays, all the rays. The cow-nose rays are really large. Butterfly rays are giant. And you can see them. You can look down and see these guys swimming through, and it's pretty exciting. From extreme to everyday stuff, an animal that we see pretty much every day, if you want to walk out there and look, are dolphin, bottlenose dolphin.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And they break the surface to breathe. They're mammals, and they're jumping out of the water, and then sometimes they're surfing the waves, and they're usually in a group. And then another unusual sighting are whales. We occasionally see a whale off the end. The humpback whales migrate north during in the spring, and they migrate south during the fall. From time to time, you'll see them spouting out on the horizon, and you got to get your binoculars out. And I have this nice pair here, and check them out. Let's see. It's really neat. I mean, we catch all sorts of different types of crabs.
That's cool.
There's a lot of stuff. Have you ever seen a flying fish or a sea robin?
No.
Very unusual looking animal.
Really?
Yeah. So we, between the security guards who are cruising up and down, the instructors who are out there teaching classes, our school groups, our camps, and then other staff members, when we have the opportunity to jump in and explain something to someone about an unusual fish, we do. And we try and educate them. As Mike, who you just met, my boss, says, the whole pier is like a teaching tool. So there's a lot of signage and graphic panels that explain what a hurricane cycle is, and what, tides and waves, and we have fish ID panels out there. One of the fish that we address are tarpon, and there's a big display out on the very end of the pier. And this past summer, a guy from Elizabeth City, George Craig, I believe is his name, he caught a tarpon, which we don't see too many of, and fought it for a really long time. It's illegal to touch them, basically. So when they went to net it, so what happens on these ones that have to go back is we use the net to bring it up so they can get their rig back and the hook back and get it out of the fish's mouth and let it back. So on this particular time, the fish, he fought it for a really long time. He's going, outlining the pier back and forth and fighting this thing. It was really cool to watch. And then at the end, they dropped down the hoop net, and fortunately for everyone involved, the hook got knocked out of the fish's mouth with the hoop net. But we got pictures,
Wow.
So that was an unusual fish. And then also last summer, they claimed to have seen sturgeon fish.
Okay.
It's a very, it looks like a dinosaur fish, man. It's just really, it's got like armored, or its back, and it's something that people used to fish for many years ago. The Native Americans apparently in this area used to fish for them, and but you don't see them too often. I've seen a carcass on the beach before. That's all I've ever seen. But these guys were experienced anglers, and they knew what to look for, and they said that it was definitely the sturgeon coming through. So that's been pretty cool. From tarpon fishing to catching a tiny spot on a bottom hook, a bottom rig with a tiny hook. We kind of have it all, and I think that's what attracts people to go fishing here is you have a chance to experience saltwater fishing. It's not terribly complicated, but then for the guys that have lived here, all their lives and they want to catch a cobia, that's a kind of two rod system, and it's called pin rigging, and the anchor line is thrown out, and then the live bait rig is pinned, so to speak, to the anchor line, and so it floats at the surface, and they'll sit out there 12, 14 hours, man. It's an all-day thing. And
So that is a process.
yeah,
then.
so the cobia come back early June, I would say, and they have to be a certain size to keep. They have to be large. I think it's some in the 30s, 36 or something like that. But I don't personally fish for those, but it's really fun to watch, and the meat is really delicious. It's white, and people that's probably the most prized fish as far as eating table fare. So that they swim along the beach, and then they get to the pier, and they kind of trace around it, and they go through the baits off the end. The pin rigging is done on the very far end, and it's an upcharge to have two rods deployed like that. And these guys are pretty serious. This is not for beginners. This is something where you're investing a lot of money in the equipment, the fighting rod, and the anchor rod. The anchor rod's typically their heaver, which they also use for red drum, and it's really cool. They have to catch a bluefish or a spot to make it get started. So there's a little jigging lane, and the standard in the industry for fishing on piers is a lure called a gotcha plug.
Okay.
And they're white with two treble hooks and have a little orange head on them, and that's called a jerk jigger. And cast it out and use a motion where you're jerking it through the water, and that's kind of the standard. Whereas a bottom rig is standard for beginners, and it's kind of the go-to rig. The gotcha plug is for people a little more advanced who are looking to pick up a bluefish, or we've seen flounder bite them, we've seen speckled trout bite them, but mainly pier fishing on the Outer Banks with the gotcha plug on a pier is for bluefish.
That's okay. So what if you come here and you don't have any equipment? Is Jennette?
Okay, we could cover all of that.
Yeah.
We actually have really nice pin equipment. We just serviced it all for next year. So it's pin rods and reels, and I believe it's $12 a day to rent that. And then of course we sell the bait. So when you rent a rod, it comes with the first bottom rig. If you break that off, you have to buy another one. But they're ready. You just walk in, and a lot of times we'll even tie it on for you. And shrimp is a really good go-to bait in the spring and fall. Cut mullet is really popular, and we sell that. Old school stuff is squid, and unfortunately we can't really get bloodworms anymore. That's not really financially feasible for us. It just went up and up, and they're just kind of hard to come by. So we've tried some other types of worms in here, but they're not really, it used to be if you went pier fishing and you're bottom fishing, it was bloodworm, or squid. Okay. So yes, some of the things change, but the straight up double hook bottom rig has been around for a really long time. It's like a saltwater fisherman's best friend, I would say.
If you're looking to do a little bit of fishing, maybe coming around the summertime and you don't have any equipment, Jennette's Pier definitely will have you covered.
So another neat thing that people don't know, or some people don't know about, especially if they're coming down for the week and they may not have been here, is we cover the cost of the license for you, and that is really sweet because who in the heck. So you could basically bring your family here, a family of four, and go fishing for $80 to $100, and including ice and a couple Pepsis or whatever in the bait and everything. So that's pretty good. If you had to buy the license on top of that, you're looking at almost doubling the $80. So it's called a blanket license. And when we got the saltwater fishing license requirement, that was one of the provisions that they set up. So all of the head boats and charter boats and the fishing piers along the Outer Banks all have the blanket license, and we purchase it every spring. Another thing that I wanted to touch on briefly is all the camps that we offer during the summer. They're very popular. They fill up, I swear, I think it was in 15 minutes last year. It's unbelievable. So it's typically the first Monday morning of March, and we do it all online because it's sequential so that the first come, first serve. But they book out really quick, and they're super cool. They're all adventure camps. A lot of them focus on pier fishing, and we do take these kids other places. Let's see. Surfing is covered. We teach a lot of kids how to surf right here on the beaches surrounding the pier. We have these foam boards that are good for learning. And last year we really had some good instructors. And one guy was from the community, and he swims for Peace College, I think it was. And we had another kid from California who was really good. And then the regular staff here have developed their skills, and it's kind of fun. And I go out there, I have a long lens and for my camera, and I go out and get shots of them, and then I edit them. We play them on the TV in the classroom, so when they're having lunch, they get to view the images that I took that morning, and then Crystal makes them available to the parents online in some fashion, the Google folder or something like that.
That's awesome. You're not just fishing. I mean, this is a whole educational, because you have the 2 saltwater tanks down below, so you've got more stuff to learn from there. What type of fish are in the saltwater tanks down below?
So I just did the inventory a couple days ago, so there are some really large black drum, and we had a heck of a black drum bite. That was the last big bite we had. It was mid-December. I've actually ran a video of a young lady, Mackenzie, fighting her black drum. I put that on Facebook yesterday. So we have big black drum. There is indeed a tarpon in there. We have 2 large flounder. Note on flounder, that fishery is closed right now. We only had 3 days we could catch them last September, I think it was. But anyway, we have 2 large flounder on there. The aquariums have some different licenses where we can, for animals for display, that we're allowed to have those flounder in there. Bermuda chubs are in there. They look like footballs. We have a sheep's head, which is a really interesting fish that has a mouthful of teeth.
Yes, I've seen some sheep's head. I've caught some in the day.
Yeah, those are. I don't want to get your finger in there.
Oh, you don't want to do that.
So the reason they have all of those is they like to feed off the barnacles and other growth mussels on the pilings of the pier. If you look at low tide, you'll see there's all sorts of things growing on the concrete pilings, and the black drum like to hang around the pilings. That is a very specific fishery. The guys going for the black drum, and especially the sheep's head, you'll see them holding their pole way over the handrail. You want your bait to fall right down next to the piling. Yeah. And you just keep it really close to the piling, and they bite, man. They are a fast bite. I mean, it's really an art to catching those, and the meat is really good on those. A lot of people catch those for dinner, and they're beautiful fish. And then we sometimes see Atlantic spade fish. Most people don't keep those, but those are 3 fish that are available around the pilings during the summer. And again, like I mentioned, the cobia is kind of a June thing. So pen rigging is also known as king fishing for king mackerel. So again, that's the 2-line system, anchor line and the pen rig live bait line. So basically you're suspending a bluefish at the surface on your hook. King mackerel, they look like torpedoes, and they are long and lean and fast, really super fast, and they're voracious eaters, and it's a good fight. People love to fight those. Again, they're on the fighting rod, and that's a conventional reel, as like a boat reel, as opposed to a spinning reel. Most fishing on the pier is done with spinning reels, but for the big fish off the end, they use the type that you would use off your boat, and especially like offshore. So they're not as large as those big pen reels they use on the offshore trips, but it's the same style. So yeah, going back to the campers, and the school groups, we do just thousands of kids on field trips here. It's very affordable for them to come, and Kristen and everybody puts on a really good show for them. That's pretty much spring and fall they come through, and so we have all sorts of different science programming for them. We let them build solar boats and cars, and then they race them, which is really fun. We have stuff on sedimentation and how it filters water. Oh gosh, it just goes on and on. And but mainly it's fishing. Mainly we take them pier fishing. There's nothing quite as enjoyable for me or rewarding, I guess, for the staff than when a child catches something in one of these, whether it's the camp or the field trip, and their faces just light up like a Christmas tree, man. They're just like, oh my gosh, they're looking at it. Even if it's a clear-nosed skate, which regular anglers, they don't want anything to do with that. But for a kid, some of these people have never even been to the ocean before. They've never seen the Atlantic Ocean, much less caught sometimes it's a dogfish, which is a type of shark. And, so we really do help them make some memories out there. And it's very rewarding to, help them get the fish up on the deck and get the hook out. And again, pictures are pretty common these days. Everybody wants their picture made with their catch. And so, they're making memories to last a long time.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's been really rewarding. And, even though the surfing part is a small percentage of what we do, that's kind of fun too when they come in and they don't really know how to push into the wave and stand up and ride. And then by the end of the week, the end of the summer, some of the kids come back week after week, and we watch the kids grow up, and some of them come back and they're junior counselors. And we've even had some come back as T1 employees, summer employees they've made it through all the camps, and they've been the junior counselors, and now they're getting paid to come to camp. So that's been pretty neat too.
That's awesome. So March 1st, you said people begin to sign up for the camps. It's a first come, first served basis. Jennette'sPier.com, I would imagine, is the place to sign up.
Actually, it's Jennette'sPier.net. But yeah, we have a really nice website, ton of information there. We have one page that's about the current conditions. And it's a very popular page. You can click on, again, it's Jennette'sPier.net, and then you look for current conditions tab, and it has the wind speed and direction, which the equipment is out on the end of the pier. We have a real time, as they like to say, temperature. There's a couple of buoys offshore from the pier that are NOAA buoys, and we pull that information. It's on a website, and we use that. So that type of information there. The tides are there. The barometric pressure is there. People eat that up. There's 3 webcams. So a lot of people who surf the Outer Banks, which is another big reason we're a destination, they like to get up and check the cameras. They will go on Surfline, and that's who provides our cameras, and they will check and see if there's a curl, and it's certainly different once, if you look at it while you're at home and then you drive down here and look at it. I mean, it's always a little different. And from my perspective, once you're out in the water, it always seems larger, typically larger than you're thinking on the beach. But people use that, and just like I said, a popular platform for people to get information.
Yeah, I mean, as far as information, I think we've covered quite a bit of what Jennette's Pier has to offer: education, fishing, a good experience, and a ton of memories that can be made right here.
We've been able to, one of the cool things about Jennette's Pier, and going back to when, like I said, some local leaders were able to save this property. I mean, people have been coming to the beach at this location forever, and it was getting threatened that it was going to be shut down in private. And so that's why the big push was there. So to bring that to the present day, we are one of the largest beach accesses in the town of Nags Head. And if you think about the causeway right there, the Nags Head Manio Causeway being right there, it only stands to reason that Roanoke Islanders love to come here because it's the closest beach. So we have free parking. We have a bathhouse, which features 2 outdoor showers, 2 foot baths, and of course, changing area and bathrooms. And free parking, the outdoor showers, the bathrooms, and this beautiful beach here. People love it. I mean, it's packed. There's sandbars on each side typically, so there's a lot of boogie boarding, a lot of surfing, and it's really the place to be in Nags Head during the summer.
Yeah, I would have to say that this is probably the widest area of beach in most of the Outer Banks. It's right here.
We really do have a nice beach. The beach nourishment for us has been a good thing. The property, we have that huge dune on the north side that really protects the pump house and the parking lot. And we have dunes on the south side now. I mean, when we first opened, there wasn't much there, but people flock to this beach in summer. Thankfully, the town has a lifeguard station on both sides. I mean, they're not adjacent to the pier, but they're pretty close. And the ocean rescue is valuable. I know when I was raising my kids, I always preferred to go to a lifeguarded beach during the summer.
100%.
I mean, I just always felt more comfortable if there's a lifeguard on duty when I'm taking the kids to the beach. I'm sure other parents are like that too.
I know it eases my mind, and I would imagine that it eases other people's minds as well when you have that lifeguard on duty.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good.
So you guys have this giant event hall right out here.
Yeah. Let's talk about the rentals and the facility rentals. The So we're up here on the second floor of the Pier House. We have a small area for the administrative offices, but we have a beautiful, huge banquet hall with 20-some windows and glass doors framing
Oh yeah, it is
the rest
absolutely
of the
beautiful.
Atlantic. And you can go out on our covered porch, and the whole the room is called Ocean View Hall for obvious reasons. We have been wildly popular with the weddings and wedding receptions here. We have holiday parties. We have corporate retreats. They'll come in and rent it for a couple days. So we only offer the space. We don't do any catering. We don't provide photographers or anything like that. It's just if you come in and you want to have your wedding reception here, you get the Ocean View Hall and the porch and then the tables and chairs and then access to a catering kitchen that's very nice. It's first class. And so a lot of people, I don't know if you know the trend about getting married on the beach, but people just love to get married on the beach in Nags Head. I am not kidding you.
I know, it's the best place.
It is. So frequently they will set up on the north side of the pier. They'll put up, a few chairs and whatnot and have sound out there, and they'll get married down on the beach, and then they'll come up here and their guests come up here and it's air conditioned.
Oh yeah.
Very popular. Ocean View Hall, all of that information is on our website. Jenny does a really good job managing it. If you want to learn more about that, you can check us out at Jennette'sPier.net.
A place to make memories any time of the year. Summertime, probably one of the best times, but you want to make a memory here at Jennette's Pier, you can do so. Jennette'sPier.net. Check them out. Daryl, thank you very much.
Hey, thank you.
Thanks for joining me on this episode of the Outer Banks Podcast. To book your next vacation, visit OuterBanksVacations.com. We'll see you next time.